going to do a bit more of a fluid class today than we have done for a bit, but when you're ready, you can come to a comfortable sitting position. You can sway a little bit side to side. You can circle around through the hips, leaving out anything that doesn't work in your body. You can change the direction of the circles. You can come back to swing a little side to side. And then gently letting yourself unwind into a place that feels balanced between the right and the left side. And then once you're here, you can exhale and tilt the hips under a little bit. Inhale and tilt the hips back, just doing little pelvic tilts. Noticing what it feels like for the hips to be tucked under versus tilted back. And then eventually coming to a place where the hips are not tucked under, nor tilted that far back that you feel balanced between the right and the left side. Rest the hands someplace comfortable on the legs, let the eyes be soft or closed. And just coming inside to the flow of the breath, feeling the air on the nostrils. And feel the breath flow through you, the lungs expanding out on the inhales and softening back in on the exhales. As you feel ready, you can let the breath begin to lengthen and deepen. You can balance out the inhales and the exhales. With every exhale, reaching down through the legs and the hips into the support of the earth underneath you. With every inhale, expanding from inside out, including lengthening through the spine, out through the crown of the head. With every exhale, letting go of anything you're ready to let go of. With every inhale, coming more fully into the present moment. Breathe, and let your awareness rest in the flow of the breath. Throughout class, I invite you to stay connected to the flow of the breath. So if at any point it feels like your thoughts are trying to drift or wander, at that moment, just bring your attention, your awareness back to the breath. I also invite you to be deeply connected to your own self. So give yourself some time here just to notice how you feel. Physically, mentally, emotionally. Honor whatever that is. And feel free to let that inform your practice. So feel free to modify, adjust, and adapt the practice as you feel inclined to. Even when what I say sounds like a command, and even if I say a lot that sounds like a command, that's just shorthand. Feel free to modify, adjust, and adapt the practice as you feel inclined to. All I ask you to do is to try to stay connected to the flow of the breath and to move with it with this connection. So breathe. We will start with an Om. If you'd like to join in, I'll exhale, inhale, and then Om. Hands together in front of the heart. Exhaling. Inhale deeply. Take a deep, full breath in. And then exhale, releasing your hands. Softly open the eyes. And as you're ready, transitioning to all fours on the mat, coming to your hands and your knees as you feel ready. Taking a moment here, making sure the knees are far enough away from the hands to lengthen the spine fully. Lines of the wrists parallel with the front edge of the mat, hands outer shoulder distance width apart, fingers spreading nice and wide apart. If you're doing palms flat, you can always do fists if you prefer. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, and round the back and look at your navel. Inhale and arch the back head and tailbone up to the sky. Just moving back and forth to the flow of the breath. Connecting this movement to the rhythm of the breath and noticing how you feel as you move. How your back feels, how your shoulders feel, how your neck feels, how your wrists feel, how your knees feel. Also notice what you're doing. You're rounding and arching the back. The shoulders are moving on and off the back. The hips and the head are tilting under and up. And the inner thigh muscles are moving forward and back. So with your next inhale, go ahead and stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, lower down to your forearms, elbows underneath the shoulders, spine still in extension, holding the hips relatively exhale, inhale, make a hill between the shoulder blades, feeling the arm bones sliding out of the shoulder socket, shoulder blades off the back. And then exhale, make a valley between the shoulder blades, feeling the arm bones sliding into the shoulder socket, shoulder blades on the back. Inhale, make a hill, arm bones out of the shoulder socket. Exhale, make a valley, arm bones deeper into the shoulder socket. Inhale, make a hill, shoulder blades off the back. Exhale, make a valley, shoulder blades on the back. Now the valley is really deep between the shoulder blades, back out a little bit. So just a small valley between the shoulder blades. Try to feel the bottom tips of the shoulder blades drawing towards each other on the back and keeping the shoulders nice and level. Stretch the left arm forward out in front of you. If you want to, you can come up to your fingertips with the fingers on the ground. Hug those bottom tips of the shoulder blades in and stretch the hips up, back, away from your hands. If you want to relax through the head and neck a bit, you can do that. But coming to a place that feels good for you, that you feel a nice stretch through that left shoulder, breathe. And then exhale, go ahead and lower the left forearm down, extending the right arm straighter, up on fingertips, hugging those fingers in, shoulder blades on the back, and just gently stretching the hips up, back away from you here, as perhaps you relax through the head and neck. Breathe. And then exhale, go ahead and release and easing your way back into a child's pose. So you can stay here if you have knee issues or feet closer together, knees a little bit apart, hips towards your feet, head towards the ground, but only moving in this direction as much as feels good for your body. Perhaps letting the back gently round. Maybe feeling the breath moving a bit more to the back of your lungs. With your next inhale, ease your way forward onto your belly. Make a pillow for the head with the hands and gently rock the hips a little side to side here. Coming into center with your hips, feel the hips nice and heavy on the earth. And just feel the breath moving through you here. The rib cage pressing into the ground on the inhales and softening back in towards the spine on the exhales. Letting the breath be nice and full and deep. And just letting yourself settle a bit here as you breathe. If you're not already, rest the forehead on your hands. Press down more powerfully through the hips. Spin your kneecaps to face the ground. Spin your toenails to face the ground. And then pressing down strongly through the hips. Maybe stretch back through the legs, lifting the feet up just an inch or two off the ground with the legs straight. Keep extending actively back through the legs to the feet, but lower the feet all the way down with your hips pressing into the ground. And with your next inhale, float your elbows up, getting a nice stretch through the shoulders here. Breathe, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Notice which hand is on top. So right now, my right hand is on top. Exhale, go ahead and lower the elbows down. Stay active through the legs and the hips. Inhale, bring the hands to either side of the chest, underneath your biceps or your elbows. Keep pressing down through the hips, stretching long through the legs. With your next inhale, floating up through the shoulders, maybe the head and chest too. Exhale and lowering back down. Inhale and pulling up through the shoulders, maybe head and chest too, a little bit here. Exhale, lowering back down. Inhale and lifting up, hold the lift. You can press down through the hands if you want to, stretching the hands back or acting like you're sliding the hands back as the chest stretches forward. And if you'd like, you could gently move a bit from side to side. Okay, staying active through the legs and the hips. Exhale, lower that back down, crossing the opposite hand over. So now my left hand is on top. Press your forehead into your hands, and again, inhale, float the elbows up here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Then exhale, releasing everything down and just gently rocking your hips a bit from side to side. Making your way back into center with your hips, and as you're ready, coming into a child's pose. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Inhale up to all fours, hands and knees. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, for the shoulder blades on the back, arm bones a little deeper into the shoulder socket. Inhale, you can walk your hands a bit in front of the shoulders, or a lot if you really wanted to. Keeping your spine nice and long, keeping the shoulders gently on the back. When you're ready, with your next inhale, you can walk your hands over to the right side. Shoulders nice and level, stretching the outer left hip back for the wall behind you. Putting the right side of your waistline contracting as the left side of your waistline expands. Breathing here. And then Inhale, coming back through center. And exhale, walking your hands over to the left side, stretching that outer right hip back for the wall behind you. And again, noticing the left side of the waistline contracting as the right side expands. Maybe noticing that it's easier to breathe into the right side of the waistline, the side that is not contracted. And then go ahead and come back to center, walking your hands underneath the shoulders. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, arm bones in the shoulder socket, shoulder blades on the back. Curl the toes under, lift the knees up, stretch the hips back, downward facing dog, bending and straightening the legs here. Moving the hips a little side to side if that feels good for you. And then with your next exhale, coming back to all fours, hands and knees, and making your way into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths here. With your next inhale, come up to sitting with the legs straight forward out in front of you, knees and toes pointing up to the sky, doing that transition however works for you. Hands back behind you a little bit. Be near the front of the mat here, press down to the legs, untuck your hips, lift up to the low back, open to the chest, open to the throat, breathing here. And then as you're ready, coming up to your fingertips, walk your fingertips forward, keep the low back lifting up out of the hips from tucking under. If you need to bend your knees a little bit to do that, go ahead and do so, breathing. And then from here, you're going to go ahead and bend your knees and move your hips a little bit forward. Perhaps bring the soles of the feet to the ground, perhaps keep the toes lifting up, knees and toes pointing up to the sky. Grab on underneath your thighs. And inhale and lengthen the spine here. Exhale and round the back and look at your navel. Inhale and lengthen, extending to the spine. Exhale and round. Inhale and lengthen. Release your hands. Exhale vertebrae by vertebrae if that works in your body. Coming all the way onto your back. If that doesn't work for you, make your way onto your back however it does. If you need to adjust where you are on your mat, go ahead and do that. And then when you feel ready, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking a little side to side here. Eventually coming into center, releasing the knees and just drawing circles on the ceiling with the knees in one direction, massaging out the hips and the low back a little bit here. And then go ahead and draw circles on the ceiling with the knees in the other direction. Coming back into center, lower the feet to the ground, feet about hip distance apart for now. Bring your hands to your low ribs and just feel the natural curves of the spine. So feel the hips nice and heavy and evenly balanced between the right and the left side. Feel the low back right above the hips lifting up a little bit. So you can slide a hand or two underneath your low back if you wanted to. Feel the shoulders nice and heavy and evenly weighted. Feel the neck lifting up a little bit. Again, you can slide a hand or two or three underneath the neck here. And feel the back of your head with your chin in neutral, nice and heavy and evenly weighted. Breathing here, feeling the rib cage pressing into the ground or pressing into your hands on the inhales, and softening back in towards the spine with the exhales. Letting yourself again just settle into diaphragmatic breathing a bit more. And then when you're ready from here, open your hands into a T position. Open your feet as wide apart as your mat. And then with your next exhale, lower the knees over to the left side. Inhale up to center. And exhale the knees to the right side, windshield wiper. So going side to side with the flow of the breath, inhaling through center, exhale to the left. Inhale to center and exhale to the right. And with your feet wide apart, so your knees are not stacked on top of each other like a deeper twist might happen, this also lets you stretch out the front of the thighs. So the next time your knees are over on the right side, hold. And if your feet are nice and wide apart, it means the left knee is stretching more towards the front of the mat. And that, again, is letting you stretch out the front of that left thigh. Feel free to stay here. Or if you want, you can lift the right foot on top of that left thigh, point the left thigh, the left knee closer to the ground. If you want, you can stretch your arms back for the wall behind you, lengthening out the low back a little bit more. Breathe wherever you're at. And then inhale, go ahead, unwind, and crossing that right leg if you did cross it over, bringing the knees back up to the sky. You might have to readjust your hips, that's fine. Exhale, lower the knees over to the left side, and again, maybe the right knee is stretching straight forward. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you lift the left foot on top of that right thigh, pulling the right knee and the right thigh closer to the ground as you extend forward through that right knee. Maybe you stretch the hands back for the wall behind you. Breathing wherever you're at. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then exhale, go natural curves of the spine, hips, shoulders, back of the head, all nice and heavy. And then with your next exhale, cross your right ankle over the left knee here. Stretching through the inner edge of the right ankle, you can bring the right hand to the right thigh and gently press the right thigh away from you. But try to feel your hips nice and even on the earth and both hips nice and heavy on the ground. Breathe. And then exhale, go ahead, release, uncross that leg. Crossing the left leg over, you can bring the left hand to the left thigh and gently pressing that thigh away from you. Breathing here. Nice full deep breath, both hips nice and heavy on the earth. And then exhale, go ahead and release. Uncross the left leg, straighten the left leg along the ground. Left knee and toe points up to the sky, pressing it down the entire left leg. But particularly, notice both hips nice and heavy on the ground. And notice your left heel pressing down. So if you need to bend the left knee to protect the low back or your knees, that's fine. But if you can, straighten the left leg all the way, do so. Bring the right foot right next to your left leg, if that works in your body. And now, try to keep your hips nice and still. You might even rest your hands on the hips as a reminder to do that. Inhale, open the right knee to the right as far as works for you without letting the hips move. And exhale, bring the right knee up to center. And it's not that moving your hips, inhale, open the right knee to the right, is a bad thing. It's just right now we're trying to hold them still and strengthen some of the stabilizing muscles. Exhale, bring the right knee back up to center. Inhale, open the right knee to the right, holding your right knee to the right side, but both hips feel nice and heavy on the ground here, evenly weighted. Breathe, tree pose on your back. And then exhale, point the right knee back toward the sky. Keep your hips nice and heavy and evenly weighted. With your next exhale, if it works for you, hug the right knee in towards the chest. If this doesn't work for you, just lift your right foot up and move the right knee in towards the chest, breathing here. Nice full deep breath, keeping the head and the shoulders pressing or relaxing into the ground. And then if holding on to the leg works for you, hold on to the belly of the right thigh with your hands. Press the leg out into your hands, lengthening to the right side of the waistline and straightening the right leg from here. Now again, if holding on to the leg doesn't work for you, you don't need to hold on to the leg. You can keep your hands on the hips and just straighten the leg. Breathing wherever you're at. Nice full deep breaths. Keeping the right leg lifted, release your hands back to the hips if you move the hands. And then with your right leg straight, slowly with control, lower the right leg down, trying to keep your hips from moving, trying to keep your core engaged. So the right leg comes down to the ground straight if that works for you. Press down through both legs with both legs straight, feel both hips nice and heavy. As you do that, your low back might lift up a little bit more. You might come into a deeper arch for a moment. So just bring your hands to your low ribs, let the low ribs settle down, not flattening out the low back, but just letting them settle down towards the ground. And now keeping the right leg straight, bend the left knee, left sole of the foot on the ground. And then from here, get hands on the hips, keeping your hips relatively still. Inhale, open the left knee to the left side as much as you can go with keeping your hips relatively still. Exhale, the left knee back up to center. Inhale, the left knee opens to the left side. Exhale, left knee back to center. Inhale, the left knee opens to the left, holding the left knee on the left, both hips nice and heavy, breathing here. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then exhale, the left knee pointing back up to ceiling. And with your next exhale, hugging the left knee into the chest. And you can use your hands if that works for you, or you can just move the left knee in towards you without using your hands. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. Shoulders and back of the head, if possible, rooting into the ground. If it works for your body to hold on to the belly of the left thigh with the hands, you can, pressing the left leg out into your hands, lengthening through the left side of the waistline before straightening the left leg. But if holding on to the leg doesn't work for you, you don't need to. You can keep your hands on the hips and just extend that left leg straighter, breathing wherever you're at, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then from here, bringing your hands back to your hips, remembering to keep the hips nice and still, keeping the rib cage nice and still. Slowly, with control, if it works in your body, lowering the left leg all the way down to the ground. So both legs eventually straightish and pressing into the ground if that works for your body. Stretch the feet towards the front of the room. Reach your hands up towards the sky, fingers pointing up to the sky, palms face in. Exhale, press the shoulders down into the ground. Keep your low ribs engaged, and then stretch your arms back for the wall behind you. With the low ribs engaged, sliding the feet towards the front of your room, sliding your hands back for the back of the room. Just a nice full body stretch here. Breathe. And then exhale, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking a little side to side. Releasing your knees. With your next exhale, roll all the way over onto your right side. Inhale, come up to center. And exhale, roll all the way to your left side. Inhale to center. Exhale, roll to the right side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right side. Inhale up to center. Exhale to the left side. So we're going to keep doing this, but as you inhale to center, exhale to the right side this time. If you want to, see how it feels to turn your chest a little bit more towards the ground, head towards the ground. And then inhale through center, exhale to the left side, and again, maybe turning the chest a little bit more towards the ground, twisting. Inhale to center, exhale to the right side, chest can turn towards the ground. Inhale to center, exhale left side, chest can turn towards the ground. Inhale center, exhale right side, chest turning to the ground. Inhale center, exhale to the left side, chest turning towards the ground. Inhale to center, hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball. Gently rocking from side to side. Pick a side to roll to the side, and make your way all the way up to sitting. Legs, once you're up to sitting, straight forward out in front of you. Knees and toes pointing up to the sky, hands back behind you. Lift up to the low back, open through the chest, open through the throat. Breathing here, come up to your fingertips, walk your fingers forward, lifting the low back up out of the hips. Breathe. With your next exhale, shift your weight into your right hip. Bring both feet over to the left side if this works for you. If not, any position that you can sit up nice and tall, lifting the low back up out of the hips, and then twisting to the right side. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then inhale, unwind to center. Take both feet to the right side. Lift your low back out of the left hip and turning to the left. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then inhale up to center. Exhale, make your way to all fours on the mat, coming to your hands and knees. Spread the fingers nice and wide apart. If your palms are flat, weight to the front of the hands. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back and look at your navel. As you inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Stretch the right leg back for the wall behind you. Exhale the right knee to the nose, rounding the back. Keeping your hips relatively level. Inhale, stretch the spine long. Stretch the right leg back behind you. Exhale, right knee to the right armpit, rounding the back, hugging in. Inhale, stretch the spine long. Stretch the right leg back behind you. Exhale the right foot forward outside the right hand. So if you need to grab the foot, the ankle, and pull the foot the rest of the way forward, go ahead and do so. Both hands inside the right leg. Inhale, stretch your spine nice and long here, and then gently move the hips from side to side if that feels good in your body. Breathing here. Coming back into center with your hips as you're ready. Hips equidistance away from the ground. Curl the left toes under and lift that left knee up off the ground. Breathing here. This is also the perfect opportunity if you need to pad up back knees more to pull a little bit more mat under that left knee before lowering the left knee back down. And then with the left knee back on the ground, start to pull that outer right hip back for the wall behind you, letting that right leg extend straighter, pressing down to that right heel, maybe lifting the toes up to the sky, but only straightening the right leg as much as feels good in your body. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then exhale, go ahead and bend the right knee, step the right foot back. You can unfurl the mat if that feels okay for you. With your next inhale, stretch your spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. And then inhale, stretch the spine long, stretch the left leg back behind you. Exhale, left knee into the nose, rounding the back. Inhale, stretch the spine long, stretch the left leg back behind you. Exhale, left knee to the left armpit, rounding the back. Inhale and opening up. Exhale the left foot forward outside the left hand, sliding wiggle, scooting that foot forward as you need to. Inhale, extending to the spine. Feel the outer left hip pulling back to the wall behind you. Feel the armpits lengthening out of the hip. And then gently move the hips a bit from side to side here if that feels good in your body. Coming back into center with your hips facing the ground, level from the ground. Curl the right toes under, lift the right knee up. Notice what this feels like in your body, breathing here. And again, if you want to pad up the back knee a little bit more, you can roll up to the mat, you can lower that back knee down before drawing the outer left hip back for the wall behind you, starting to straighten the left leg, maybe lifting the toes up as you press down to the heel and pull the outer left hip back for the wall behind you. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths. And then exhale, go ahead and bend that left knee, step the left foot back, all fours. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, with the arm bone sliding into the shoulder socket, shoulder blades on the back, and then keeping that, curl the toes under, lift the knees up, stretch the hips back, downward facing dog. Bending and straightening the legs, moving the hips a little side to side. As you feel ready, look forward at the hands, bend both knees, walk the feet towards the hands or the hands towards the feet. Knees can stay bent if that feels good for you. If you need to open your feet a little wider apart, you could do that. Eventually shifting all the way back in your feet. Once all the weight's in your feet, bring your hands to the hip, shoulders on the back. Inhale, nice long spine, all the way up to standing. And then from here, go ahead, make your way to the front of the mat or near the front of the mat. Looking down at your knees and your feet, lining your feet up with each other, a comfortable distance width apart. Knees facing generally forward, second toes facing generally forward, and then shifting the weight forward and back in your feet a little bit. Eventually coming to a place where the weight feels balanced between the front and the back of your feet. Wiggle your toes. And then with your next inhale, lift your toes up. Feel the arches of the feet waking up, the soles of your feet waking up, the arches engaging and lifting. Exhale, go ahead and release. Inhale, lift your toes and the arches up. Feel your toes and the arches lifting up. Connect down through any part of your foot that's not the toes or the arches, including between the toes and the arches. Feel the leg muscles hugging to the bone, but the knee joints a little bit soft. Feel the muscles around the hips hugging in, but pelvic floor muscles lifting in and out. Feel the low ribs engaging, low ribs lifting in and out. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. Feel the breath flowing through you here. And then spreading the toes apart if the toes will move for you. And lowering the toes back to the ground, pressing the toes into the earth as you feel the arches lifting up. Breathe. From here, staying in center with the torso, just let your hips slide a bit from side to side. So let the hips push to one side and then the other. Notice what this feels like in your body. And then coming into a place where the hips feel pretty centered between the right and the left side. And with your next exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale, lower the arms to the side. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Right hand can grab left wrist. Exhale, leaning over to the right. Notice how much your hips go to the left. So your hips will naturally push a little bit to the left. Try not to go too far. Press down through both feet. Breathe in here. And then inhale, come up to center, left hand, right wrist. Exhale, leaning over to the left side. And again, noticing if your hips shift a lot. If so, maybe not letting the hips shift as much as they might want to. Inhale, come up to center, right hand, left wrist. Exhale, leaning over to the right. If you want to, let the belly and the chest turn a bit towards the ground here, breathing. And then inhale, up through center. Exhale to the left. And again, maybe belly and chest turns to the ground a bit, breathing here. Inhale up to center, right hand, left wrist, exhale to the right. Maybe roll the left shoulder on the back, trying to turn the chest a bit towards the sky here, breathe. And then inhale up to center, exhale to the left. And again, maybe right shoulder rolls on the back, chest turns a bit towards the sky, breathing here, noticing where your hips are, pressing down through both feet. Inhale up to center. Exhale, release the arms to the side. Do nice shoulder rolls up and onto the back. And then doing shoulder rolls forward. Okay, with your knees a bit soft, go ahead and lean your hips back a little bit and lean your hips forward a little bit. When you lean the hips forward, be careful of the low back. Lift the low back up out of the hips. So exhale, lean the hips back. And then lean the hips forward. Also be careful when you lean the hips forward that the thigh eyes don't try to roll out to the side. One more time. Exhale, lean the hips back a little bit. Inhale and lean the hips forward. And then come to a place where the hips feel like they're moving back a little bit. The thighs are moving back just a little bit. Feel the low ribs hugging in and lift your low back up out of the hips here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Feel the breath moving through you. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Act like you're sitting back in a chair. Exhale, back up to standing. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana, powerful pose. Exhale, back up to standing. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Holding here. Feel the thighs moving down towards the ground. Feel the weight shifting back into your heels. And feel the spine, the low back, lengthening out of your hips for just a breath or two or three. And then exhale, pour the spine forward over the legs. Hands to legs or the floor. Keeping your torso relatively close to the thighs. Legs nice and strong. Inhale, lifting the hips up. Maybe straightening the legs. Exhale, bend the knees. Knees as wide apart as your feet. Only straighten the legs as much as feels good for you. So inhale, straighten the legs. And keeping your torso relatively close to the legs. Exhale, bend the knees as wide apart as your feet. If you want to, also think of your shins hugging in, thighs pressing out as you straighten the legs. Holding here, maybe lift your toes up and engaging the bottoms of your feet a bit more as you feel shins pressing in, thighs pressing out. And then keeping your bottoms of the feet nice and steady and strong, maybe spreading the toes again and lowering the toes to the ground. Breathe. Hands to the hips, shoulders on the back, nice long spine, all the way up to standing. Exhale, let the knees be a bit soft, shift your weight into your right foot, good size step back with your left foot. And then from here, inhale, we're gonna open the hips to the left side, and then exhale, you're gonna turn the hips to face forward. Both directions, only as much as feels good in your body. Inhale, open your hips to the left side. Exhale, turn the hips forward. Try to keep your right knee spinning towards your second toe, even as you open your hips to the left side. And exhale, turn the hips to face forward, but only as much as feels good for you. Press down to the hips, feel the back of your hips lengthening with your hips facing more forward. Lift the low back up out of the hips, and your shoulder blades come together on the back, and using the shoulder blades to curl the chest a bit towards the sky. Breathing here, nice full deep breath. Now the back of your hips lifts up, the low back will compress or contract, so keep the back of the hips extending. With your next inhale, come back to neutral through the chest. Hands to the hips, with your hands on the outside of your hips. Inhale and try to expand from inside out into your hands, widening the low back. And then right knee tracks towards second toe. Go ahead and bend that knee. Press down through the hips, feel the low back lifting up. If you want to, hands can reach up to the sky. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana, one position, breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then pressing down to that right foot, step the left foot forward. Knee soft, shift your weight into your left foot, right foot goes back. Left knee spinning towards second toe, but inhale, let the hips open to the right, however much feels good for you. And then exhale, turning the hips to face forward, and however much feels good for you. Inhale, open the hips to the right. Exhale, turning the hips to face forward. Inhale, open the hips to the right. Exhale, hips facing forward, but only as much as feels good for you. Press down to the hips. Feel the thumbs lengthening the back of the hips down. Elbows and shoulders towards each other with the hips facing generally forward. Lift the low back up out of the hips. Shoulders towards each other on the back. And using the shoulder blades to lift the chest up towards the sky. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. With your next inhale, come back to neutral through the chest. Hands on the outside of the hips. And then with the following inhale, press out into your hands, expanding, widening the low back. Then left knee tracking towards second toe, bending the left knee. Press the hips down, lift the low back up out of the hips. And if you want to, hands reaching up to the sky. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Breathing here, nice full deep breaths. And the hips are facing generally forward, but not necessarily all the way forward. As you feel ready, press down to that left foot, step the right foot forward. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, feel the breath moving through you. Exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide, reach up high. Exhale, legs bend or straight, fold forward, hands to legs or the floor. Inhale, you can slide the hands up the legs and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, slide them down and fold in. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long, arms come wide, reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Feel the breath moving through you. Exhale, release the hands to the side. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, back up to standing. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to your knees. Inhale, and lengthen to the spine. Exhale, and round the back and look at your navel. Inhale and lengthen through the spine. Exhale and round. Inhale and lengthen with that nice long spine. Shift your weight to your right foot, hands move to the right knee, and take a big step back with your left foot. Right knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. Back heel can be up or down. If you want to wiggle that back foot back further, you can. Press down to your feet, hug into your hips. Stretch the spine nice and long here, and then with your next exhale, see if you can lower the left hand to the ground. Breathing here. With your next inhale, turn the chest to the right, maybe lifting the right hand up. And then exhale, turn the chest back to the ground, bring the hand back to the knee if you lifted the hand up. Inhale, turning your chest to the right, maybe the right hand lifts. Exhale, turn the chest back down. Inhale, chest turns to the right, right hand lifts, perhaps holding here. Breathe, nice full deep breath. Feel the outer right hip stretching back to the wall behind you. Feel the spine lengthening out the hips. And then exhale, turn the chest back down, right hand to the knee or all the way to the ground. Lengthening the low back out of the hips here. Feel the breath moving through you. Press down strongly through that right foot, slide, wheel, step the left foot forward to meet it. Inhale, slide your hands up, the legs lengthening through the spine. Exhale, slide the hands down and fold in. Inhale, nice long spine, arms come wide, reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Feel the breath moving through you. Exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana. Exhale, hands to your knees. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, and round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Shift your weight into your left foot, hands to. Exhale, big step back with your right foot. Left knee on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. Maybe wiggle that right foot back more, maybe not. Press down through your feet, hug into your hips. Stretch your spine nice and long. Exhale the right hand perhaps to the ground if that works for you. Inhale, turn your chest to the left. Left hand can lift up if you want to. Exhale, turning back down. Left hand coming back to the knee. Inhale, twisting to the left, chest turning. Left hand maybe lifts up. Exhale, turning back towards the ground. Inhale, twisting to the left. Left hand can lift. You're going to hold here. You can also have the right hand here underneath a block if you have some blocks. Breathe wherever you're at. And then exhale, left hand either back to the knee or all the way to the ground. Feel that outer left hip stretching back to the wall behind you. Feel the armpits and chest stretching forward for the wall in front of you. Feel the breath flowing through you. Press down to that left foot, slide, we'll go scoot step the right foot forward. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, nice long spine, arms come wide, reach all the way out towards the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Feel the breath moving through you. Let the thighs and the hips settle back a little bit so the weight's more in the heels. Feel the low ribs settling back a little bit, getting a little bit of fullness in the low back. Feel the shoulders settling back a little bit, shoulder blades on the back. Feel the back of your head with your chin in neutral settling back a little bit. Breathing here. With your next exhale, we're just going to gently turn our head to the right side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, turn the head to the left side. Inhale, back to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach up high. Exhale and fold forward, legs bent or straight, hands to legs or the floor. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Bend the knees deeply, hands to the ground. Make your way back to a downward facing dog. Pressing those hips up, back away from you. Inhale, shoulders forward over wrist plank pose. Wiggle the feet back a little bit from here. And then exhale, lower the knees down to the ground, knees a bit behind your hips, point your toes. With your next inhale, we're going to move the chest forward, roll the shoulders back, hips forward and down, only as much as feels good for your low back. And then exhale, go ahead and lift the hips back up to all fours, or you can even take the hips back towards your heels, moving more towards a child's pose. Inhale, chest forward, shoulders roll back, hips forward and down. Exhale, hips either lifting up or all the way back towards your feet, just depends on what feels best in your body. Inhale, chest forward, shoulders roll back, hips forward and down. And then exhale, bending your elbows, lower all the way down. Press down through the hips. Feel a little bit of a lift through the shoulders in this chest. Stretch back through the legs. Knees face the ground, but maybe the feet lift up a little bit here. Chalandasana variation. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. Then keep pressing down through the hips. With your next exhale, lower the feet to the ground, still extending through the legs. With your next inhale, if you want, you can lift up a little higher through the shoulders and the chest, lifting up into a bit higher cobra, only if that works in your body. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, lifting up a little bit higher in cobra if that works for you. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, lifting up a little bit higher. Exhale and lower back down. So in a relatively low cobra, in other words, shoulders and chest lifting up just a little bit. Go ahead and roll the shoulders up and on the back and let yourself sway a little side to side. Okay. Then coming back into center, keeping the shoulders kind of on the back, but they'll move a bit here as you do this. You're going to exhale and lean to your right side. Lift the left leg up, stretch the left leg back for the wall behind you. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale to the left side, stretching the right leg back behind you. Inhale to center, exhale to the right side, left leg stretches. Inhale to center, exhale to the left side, right leg extends back. Inhale to center, exhale to the right side, left leg extends. Inhale to center, exhale to the left side, right leg extends. Go ahead, come back to center, and then center, make a pillow for the head with the hands. Relax, resting your head on the hands, feel the breath moving through you. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then with your next exhale, coming back into a child's pose. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. With your next inhale, up to all fours, hands and knees. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, stretch the spine long, stretch the right leg back behind you. Exhale the right foot forward towards your hand, either outside or inside. You can grab the ankle slide, wiggle, scoot. Then as you're ready, if it works for your body, curl the left toes under and lift that left knee up off the ground. If you need to step that left foot in a little bit more to bring the heel down, you could also do that. But hugging in from your feet to your hips as you're ready. Right hand to the right knee, left hand to the right knee, starting to come upright. Breathing here. And then as you feel steady, you can tilt the hips more upright if you want to. And if you want to, you can lift the hands up to the sky. Back to warrior one, just a different transition. Breathing here. And then exhale, go ahead and lower the hands all the way down. You can ease that left knee down and step the right foot back, all fours. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, round the back, look at your navel. Inhale, as you stretch the spine long, stretch the left leg back behind you. Exhale the left foot forward towards your hand, sliding, wiggle, scooting that foot forward. When you feel ready, crawling the right toes under if it works for you and lifting the knee up, but you can keep the knee down if you prefer. And also if you want to step that foot in a bit to bring the heel down for more stability, you can do that. Hug in from your feet to your hips, walking one hand perhaps and then the other hand up to your knee. Keep hugging in from the feet to the hips, hips facing generally forward, perhaps tilting them more upright, perhaps lifting the hands up to the sky, breathing here. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and lower the hands down. Lower that right knee down and step the left foot back, all fours. Inhale, stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale, shoulders on the back. Curl the toes under, lift the knees up, stretch the hips back, downward facing dog. Bending and straightening the legs, moving the hips a little side to side. As you feel ready, look forward at the hands, bend the knees, walk your feet towards the hands or the hands towards the feet. Then once all the weight's in your feet, you can inhale and stretch the spine nice and long. Exhale and fold. Inhale, nice long spine, arms can wide, reach all the way up towards the sky. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Feel the breath moving through you here. And then from here, if you want to take a little step off the mat, you can. But if it works for you, just spotting out on the ground about 6 feet in front of you, shift your weight into your right foot, come to your left toe. And again, keeping your hips relatively still, just opening that left knee to the left as much as feels good for you. And then lifting that foot up off the ground if you want to. If you want to grab the foot and bring it up higher, you could do that as well. Hug your leg and your foot in towards each other. Feel free to stay here. Or if you want to, reach the arms up or move the arms. Feel free to stay here. Or if you want to, gently move a little bit. And if your foot comes down, it comes down. You're moving anyway. Breathe. Just bring things up as you're ready. And then go ahead and come back to center. Release, shake it out. Some people will find bouncing moving easier. Some people will find it harder. So it's sometimes nice just to play with. Hands can come together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back, feel the breath moving through you. Shift through you. Shift your weight into your left foot. Come to your right toes. And again, without moving your hips too much, just opening the right knee to the right and lifting that foot up. And if you want to lift it up higher, you can. You don't have to. You can also keep the toes on the ground. And then if you want to lift the arms up, you can. You don't have to because we're going to move anyway, so really you can have your hands wherever you want them to. But from here, if you feel like it, if you had fun on the first side, go ahead just moving around a bit here as you breathe. And then go ahead and coming back to center, go ahead, release, shake it out. And open your legs nice and wide to the side. Take a moment, line your feet up with each other here. And then from here, once your feet are lined up with each other, you can turn the left toes in towards the right toes a little bit. Right toes all the way out to the right side. Right knee tracks towards second toe. And then from here, exhale and bending that knee, the right one. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Right knee about on top of the ankle, tracking towards second toe. Press down through your hips. Inhale the hands into a T, but act like someone has underneath your upper arms and is just lifting your upper arms up, getting a bit of length in the low back. Not so much the shoulders start to crunch up towards the ears, but just trying to find a bit more space to the spine, looking over the right fingers here. Feel free to stay here, or with your next exhale, lower the right forearm to the right leg, and if you want to, you can stretch the left arm alongside by the ear. And then inhale, back up to warrior two, lifting back up through the torso. And then exhale, left hand to the left leg, leaning, sliding down, leaning back. Inhale, back up to warrior two. Exhale, Parsvakonasana, right forearm to the right leg, left arm stretches. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, reverse warrior. Left arm to left leg, right arm lifts. Inhale to center. Exhale, Parsvakonasana, right forearm to right leg, left arm extends. Inhale to center. Exhale, reverse warrior, left arm to left leg, right arm extends. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, hands to your hips, soften that left knee. Turn the right toes towards the left a little bit. Left toes all the way out to the left. Left knee tracking towards your second toe. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Warrior two, Virabhadrasana two. Feel the hips rooting down. Hands into a T, but again, almost like someone has underneath your arms and is lifting just your low back up out of the hips. Breathing here, looking over those left fingers. And then feel free to stay here, or left forearm to the left leg, maybe right arm stretching alongside by the ear. Inhale, back to center. Right arm to right leg, left arm stretches by the ear. Inhale, up to center. Exhale, Parsvakonasana, left elbow to leg. Inhale, up to center. Exhale, reverse warrior, right hand to the right leg, leaning back. Inhale to center. Exhale, Parsvakonasana. Inhale to center. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale to center, hands to your hips, knees soft. Turn all 10 toes to face the long of the mat, knees a bit soft. Inhale and lengthen the spine here. Exhale, tilting the hips, start to fold forward. Stop when your back wants to round. Instead, extend through the spine here first. And then if you want to let the back gently round, you can. And then if you want to, keeping the torso relatively close to the thighs, lift the hips up higher, you can. And then if you would like to release the hands to the legs or the floor, you can do that as well. But you don't have to. You can keep your hands on the hips if you prefer. Breathe. Nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And then pressing down to the feet, nice long spine, all the way up to standing. With your knees soft, heel toe, your feet in towards each other. Shake out the legs and turn and face towards the top of the mat. Hands together in front of the heart, shoulders together on the back. Feel the breath moving through you. Root from the hips into the earth, but feel a lightness, a lift through the arches of the feet. With your next exhale, release the hands to the sides. Inhale, arms come wide and reach out. Exhale and fold. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Bend the knees, hands to the ground. Make your way back to a plank pose, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, lower the knees down, but keep your hips where they are. With the shoulders moving gently on the back, head and neck in line with the rest of the spine. This time, without letting the hips sag, only if it works for you. With your upper arms close to the torso, exhale and bend the elbows, maybe just an inch or two. And then inhale and straighten. Exhale, bend the elbows, core stays engaged, hips stay engaged. Inhale inhale and straighten. And then with your next exhale, making your way down to your belly in a way that works for you. Press down to the hips, lengthen back to the legs. With your next inhale, you can lift up a little bit through the shoulders and the chest, or if you want to do a lot, you can. Exhale, lower down, but then a little lift through the shoulders and the chest. Low cobra. Feel the hips rooting down, feel the legs stretching long. Then relax a little bit, swaying a little side to side. This time, if you want to, as you sway to the right side, you can bend that left knee, point the knee towards the sky, and maybe even step that left foot back behind you, but maybe the left foot doesn't come all the way down, and that's fine. Inhale, back through center. And exhale, lean to the left side, bending the right knee, trying to point the knee towards the sky as much as comfortable, stepping that right foot back. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right side, left knee bends, points towards the sky, maybe steps back. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left side, right knee bends, maybe points to the sky. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right side, left knee bends, maybe up to the sky. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left side, right knee bends, inhale to center. Come back to center, rest your head on the hands. Gently let the hips rock a little side to side here. Then coming into center with the hips, pressing down through the hips, knees outer hip distance width apart, spinning to face the ground. Press down through the hips so strongly that when you exhale and bend both knees, the low back doesn't contract on you. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend both knees. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend both knees. Feel the hips nice and heavy. Bring the arms to the sides if that works for you. Inhale, lifting up through the shoulders and the chest. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale, lift up through the shoulders and the chest. Exhale and lower back down. Inhale and lift. Hold the lift here. If you want to from here, you can grab or reach back for your ankles or your feet. If you catch your ankles or your feet and you want to kick them back, you can. Dhanurasana, breathing, nice, full, deep, complete breaths. And exhale, go ahead and release. Rest the head on the hands. Gently rock the hips from side to side. Eventually coming into center with your hips and making your way back into a child's pose. Breathe. Feel the breath moving through you. With your next inhale, easing your way to sitting with the legs forward out in front of you. Knees and toes pointing up to the sky, hands by the hips. Lift the low back up out of the hips, sitting up nice and tall. And then exhale, bend the right knee into the chest, hugging onto the right knee, sitting up nice and tall here. Twisting to the left, left hand back behind you, right arm inside the right leg, pressing the right arm into the right leg to twist. Only if this works for you. Feel the right shoulder on the back, and then internally rotate the arm and shoulder. And then maybe untwisting, bring that right arm in front of the right leg, hands to the ground. Marityasana A variation, breathing here. Nice, full, deep breath. And then inhale, come back up right through the torso. Open the right knee to the right. Hands on either side. Again, untucking through the hips, sitting up nice and tall. Bending the left knee enough that your hips can move for you and that you can sit up nice and tall. And then tilting the hips so the tops of the hips come closer to the ground. Grab wherever works for you on that left leg. Inhale, lengthening the spine out of the hips, stretching through the side waistline. Exhale and take a gentle forward fold. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, come back up right here, lifting the right knee up, straightening the right leg. Bend the left knee in. Hugging onto that left knee, sitting up nice and tall here. Right hand to the right, left arm inside the left leg, twisting to the right. Breathe. And again, this left shoulder's on the back, but maybe internally rotating to the rotator cuff if that feels okay for you. And then maybe untwisting, but as you untwist, you might want to see if you can bring the left arm inside the leg. You might need to move the left leg further to the left to do that. From here, perhaps folding in a little bit. So this is just a small forward fold. Trying to keep the right knee and toes facing toward the sky. You might need to bend that knee, that's fine. And then inhale and come back up. Open the left leg to the left. Hands just on either side of the right leg. And again, trying to untuck the hips, sit up nice and tall, bending the right knee however much you need to, making sure your hips move. And then grabbing someplace comfortable on the leg. Inhale and lengthen through the spine. Exhale, gently let the back round and fold. Breathe. And then inhale, come back up. Soles of your feet together, knees opening apart. Hold on to your shins, untucking the hips, sitting up nice and tall, Baddha Konasana. Breathing here. And then go ahead and move the feet further forward and take a gentle forward fold. Nice, full, deep breaths. Coming up right through the torso, making your way to near the back of your mat. Bend your knees, feet about mat distance width apart, knees facing up to the sky, either holding onto your ankles or holding onto that outside of your feet, sitting up nice and tall here. So the arms come inside the legs and reaching for the feet near the back of your mat. This is basically a happy baby pose sitting right now. Once you're here, you're gonna sway a little side to side. And you're just gonna start to walk your feet forward. And you're just gonna walk them as far forward as feels good for you. So you're just walking your way forward into a hamstring stretch. But again, only going as far as feels good for you. And you just sway even side to side when you're in and where you're gonna end up. But eventually coming to center and just letting yourself fold in. Once you're on your back, just hug the knees into their chest, coming into a ball. Gently rocking the hips a little side to side. And then letting go of the knees. Draw circles on the ceiling with the knees in one direction, massaging out the hips and the low back. And then draw circles on the ceiling with the knees in the other direction. Coming back into center with the hips here. Lower the feet to the ground. Come back to the natural curves of the spine. Hips, shoulders, back of head heavy. Low back and neck lifting up a little bit. Straighten the left leg along the ground. Left knee and toe points up to the sky. Pressing down to that left leg if it works for you. And hug the right knee in towards the chest. Keep your right hand on your right knee. Take your left hand to the left hip as a reminder to keep it down, holding your hips relatively still. And then with your next exhale, you can open the right leg to the right side here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then exhale, coming back to center with that right leg. And if you want to, holding on to the belly of the right thigh instead with your right hand. Press the right leg out into your right hand, maybe straightening the right leg however much works for you. Left hand staying on the hip. And again, inhale, maybe opening this right leg to the right thigh, but trying to keep your hips relatively still here. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then exhale, bring the right leg back to center. And go ahead and bend that knee and lower that foot to the ground. Bend the left leg. Straighten the right leg. Right knee and toe points up to the sky if that works for you. Pressing down through your hips, pressing down through that leg. Hug the left knee into the chest, breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then taking your right hand to your right hip as a reminder to hold the hip still as you inhale and open the left leg to the left. Breathe. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then exhale, go ahead and bring that left leg back into center. You can keep on doing that or hold on to the belly of the left thigh with your hands. Press the left leg out into your left hand, straightening that leg. And then keeping your hips still, open the left leg to the left with the left leg relatively straight. Breathing here. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then as you're ready, go ahead and come back to center with that leg, lower that foot to the ground. Both feet on the ground, knees bent, soles of the feet on the ground, hands to the tops of the thighs. Press the tops of the thighs away from you, lengthening the low back, gently swaying the knees a bit from side to side here. And then making your way into center. Hugging the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking from side to side here. And then coming back into center from here and open the arms into a T position if that works for your shoulders, pressing down through the shoulders and the back of the head. If you want a gentler twist, you can lower the feet to the ground. If you like a deeper twist, you can keep the feet lifted. Also, if hands and T feels like too much for your shoulders, you can slide the hands closer to your hips in more of an airplane position. When you're ready, exhale the knees over to the right side. Inhale the knees up to center. Exhale the knees to the left side. Inhale up to center. Exhale the knees to the right side, holding the knees on the right side. Left shoulder nice and heavy. Maybe turning your gaze and looking over the left shoulder. Breathe. And then as you feel ready, inhale, unwinding to center. Exhale the knees over to the left side, left shoulder, right shoulder nice and heavy, and maybe turning your gaze and looking over the right shoulder, breathing here. Nice full deep breaths. And then unwinding, coming to center, hugging the knees into the chest as you feel ready, coming into a ball, gently rocking. Feel free to stay in a ball or open the knees wider apart, extending through the spine, and maybe pulling the knees towards the ground on either side of you as you still rock. And then maybe flip your feet up to the sky, holding onto your knees, the lower legs, or your feet, as you pull the knees perhaps down towards the ground on either side of you with your arms, but the legs press back up into your hands a little bit here. So breathing, nice hip opener. Eventually coming into center, full body stretch with the arms up above the head, legs along the ground, lengthen your tailbone towards your feet, and final relaxation. So Shavasana works for you. You can bring the arms along the sides in an airplane position, palms up, open the legs wider apart than the hips, lengthen the tailbone towards your feet. I like to have the knees and toes facing up towards the sky for just a moment, just to line things up. And then as you relax, the legs will just naturally roll in or out. But if Shavasana is not comfortable for you, you can bend the knees, have the feet on the ground. You can have feet together, knees apart, Supta Baddha Konasana, or any position where you can relax into and just release with the spine relatively neutral and supported. Once you find the position that works in your body, let your eyes be soft or closed and feel the breath flowing through you. So with every exhale, just let yourself release a bit more. Notice any muscles that are gripping or grasping or still trying to work. And just imagine those muscles melting into the earth. Let your bones feel heavy. Let your skin feel soft. And whenever you're as relaxed as you're going to get, let go of the conscious control of the breath. And just let yourself rest here. Noticing the thoughts as they arise into your mind's eye. Noticing that you're having a thought. And see if when you notice you're having a thought, if you can just let the thought go. Not resisting the next thought as it arises, letting the next thought arise as it will. But also, again, noticing when you're having a thought and seeing if you can let it go. Emotions are treated the same way as thoughts. We often think of emotions as being associated with thoughts, but they can be independent. If a thought is a bit more challenging to let go, then you see if you can unwind that thought and eventually let it go. And that might be sometime during this practice, it might be later this evening, it might be next week, it might be next year. But practicing the observation that thoughts are things that come and thoughts are things that go. They are not permanent conditions as you rest here. Come back to your breath. Feel the breath flowing through you as you come into small movements, wiggling fingers and toes, circling ankles and wrists, stretching arms and legs. Then when you feel ready, you can hug the knees into the chest, coming into a ball, gently rocking. You would traditionally roll over to your right side, let the chest turn towards the ground. If that works in your body, you can go ahead and do that, pausing on your side. If coming to your side doesn't work for you, just let yourself feel heavy and supported and keep your connection to the breath. Then, with as little effort as possible, easing to a comfortable sitting position, legs and hips nice and heavy, spine lifting up, breath flowing. We will finish with an Om. Hands can come together in front of the heart. Exhaling. Inhale deep.